say you're a legend, we mean it.
That might not be a good thing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's gonna be a great thing. Right. So, we're gonna start the interview now, guys. Just for the videos that I make on YouTube, I'm just gonna do a 5-second intro, and then we're gonna carry on with questions. Here we go. I need a pencil. Here we go. We're all set. So, um, today for the interview, we have Toshutkidup, also known as Tosh, our own Slayer here on the other side, the god of Slayers, in my opinion. Welcome, Tosh, to the interview, to the stream.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you again for accepting this invitation, for continuing the series. Without the streamers that accept the invitation, I wouldn't have this lovely thing every Sunday. So, Tosh, I do have standard questions that I ask everybody to make the interviews fair. So we get the same questions as other people. You are free to use any language you want and answer in any way you want. This is a totally free thing. So for people that don't know you, start with some simple stuff like where are you from?
Well, I currently live in southwest part of the United States, called a state called Arizona, which is just north of the country of Mexico, just east of the state of California.
Yeah, and here's me saying the other time, you're German, right?
Yeah, you asked me if I'm German. No.
I don't know how that came to mind, but anyway. So, Tosh, do you just play? I know you mainly play your Slayer. It's your main, but do you play Destro as well? Do you play both sides?
No, I do not. I
All right.
only play order.
Why?
It kind of goes through a an old mindset of mine that when I started playing MMOs, probably in the late 2000s or early 2000s, that is, that I had kind of like this faction pride thing. So I only stuck with one side. Now I might have other characters like on a different server, which is a different faction. If that was available, I would do that. But on the same server, I only had one faction.
Okay, that sounds fair enough. Yeah, I was up for it. Then, for many reasons, I made some more Destro. I'm not gonna get into it. This is about you. So, next question was about what's your main class. I'm assuming that's the Slayer, of course.
Well, actually, when I started on the server, the engineer was my first class. But
Okay.
I played him very poorly, so I switched to Slayer.
How dare you leave the NG for the Slayer? How dare you?
Yeah, I could not I couldn't get the mechanics down, and so I my personality is too aggressive to play engineer how it's supposed to be
Yeah.
played or how the meta is. So I went to Slayer.
To tell you the truth, Tosh, a lot of people think the NG is simple, just throw the dots, but it's a lot more complicated if you want to have like the full extent of how the NG is played. However, since you mentioned the whole aggressive thing, I think if you ever level your NG and you take a semi tanky build like mine, you can be on the front lines extremely aggressive. Just as a reference for the future, then.
I still play him engineer on occasion. He's renowned 70 right now. He
Oh,
is
nice.
grenadier spec, but I don't play him often. I play my Slayer most of the time.
Oh, look, Tosh, are you seeing what's happening here on
Yeah,
the
I see the
all the NGs lining up there?
yep, I see him.
That's nice. Thank you guys for being part of the interview. So, did you play live?
Yes, I played live for about a year.
And on live, did you play the same class, like on order again, or
No,
did
live I played Destro. I played a DPS melee doc.
uh, like me? I was playing Squiggy, but I was Destro, and then I went to order on this side. So, why the Slayer? Why not a different class? There's many melee DPS classes on order, but why the Slayer specifically? What did you find in that class that made you say, "This is what I want"?
Well, when I started playing on the server, I joined CNTK as a guild member, and their majority is they play more of a warband style, more of an organized warband
Yeah.
style. So since I really stunk on my engineer, I was like, well, what class could I play that would benefit them? And And Order is always, in my perspective, always lacking melee DPS. So I rolled a Slayer, and it fits my personality. It's kind of like an angry guy. He's always coming across kind of brash, kind of harsh, and my personality can be that at times as well. So it kind of fits me.
Okay. So your counterpart on the Destro side is the Chopper. How do you find? I know you said I don't know. Have you ever played the Chopper?
No, never played him.
Okay. So, in your opinion, being on the receiving end of the skills of a Chopper, how do you find like the Slayer compared to the Chopper? Do you feel it's stronger? It has more utility? I mean, fighting them all the time.
I feel that Choppas hit harder than Slayers, but I think Slayers have more long term damage. So the burst isn't there that a Choppa can get, but the long term, damage is more.
So, for the people that say like that the Chopper can solo, as far as like survivability goes, a little bit better than the Slayer, do you feel that's true? That the Slayer is more dependent on a tank than the Chopper, to put it this way.
I would probably say they're equal. I would say they're equal, but differently equal.
All right, okay, I get that.
If that makes any sense.
To me, it does. I'm hoping for the people that play the game and they know what we're talking about, they understand that. So, if you were not able to play the Slayer, let's say it's not in the game, it doesn't exist. Chopper and Slayer are out of the game. Um, which other class would you pick as your main and why? Like a second option.
It's a good question. I'd probably would have stuck it out with my engineer.
Oh, those engines, keep them coming.
I
Honestly,
probably
though,
would have stuck with my engineer, or I would have. I also have a Bright Wizard I play as well, or I might have gone Bright Wizard, but probably engineer.
it's funny. We have so many engines, man. It's unbelievable the amount of engines that actually, if you look on the roster of the server, if that's possible, you'll see so many. Yes, Bombling. Tosh was saying that if he couldn't pick the Slayer, it was out of the game. He most likely would go for an NG or a Bright Wizard. So, as a player, Tosh, do you prefer open RVR or scenarios?
Open RVR for me.
Why?
Again, it kind of goes on my personality. I'm a guy that likes to see a campaign through, so from start to finish.
Yeah.
So, scenarios are too much. It doesn't really scenarios for me doesn't really change the outcome of anything in the game. It's just people fighting and killing each other. Whereas the campaign, you see a progression, and I'm a person that likes to see progression.
Yeah, I like progression as well, but the open RVR scene, with the whole zerging and all this, um, for me and I think some other people as well, it with they play small groups, they don't have that room to roam with smaller groups, and it gets a little bit frustrating being run over by warbands all the time. I know you roam a lot solo. I mean, how do you handle that? The massive zerging with that. Oh, come on, Forer.
Well, to answer the question, I accept dying. So if you don't like dying, then it certainly is not a way to play. So dying to me does not bother me. Other than that, I have to change. You have to change how you play. I stay away from where the warbands are at, and I try to play on the fringes. So I might follow a warband around, but I don't directly interact with them. I stay on the fringes of where the fighting's going, and I try to pick off people that are, trying to run away or trying to get there. Or I play more of a small man, type of a game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand that. I try to do that as well. I mean, I'm more of a six-man person, but I can get that. It's okay. So you're a solo, so I'll skip the next question. Um, so if some people that are actually watching right now, they feel like, they have a Slayer or it's their alt or the thing of making one. If you were to give them one or two tips about the Slayer, to get them started or guide them, what would you tell them?
Well, to start out, I would say you want to have a healer or a pocket guard. Starting out, you just don't have the tools to keep yourself alive solo. So, even if I try to solo, and I'm not saying I solo and I do it well, I die a lot. But again, it doesn't bother me. Some people don't like dying. If you don't like dying, don't play Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. It's a game. You have to die. It's part of. Anyways.
You also have to play. If you play a Slayer, you have to accept that you can't kill everyone all the time. There are certain classes that I just can't beat, depending on the environment around us. If I'm not prepared for it, I'm gonna lose 100% of the time. So if you can't accept that, don't play a Slayer either. You're not gonna kill a healer the same way that you're gonna try to kill a sword and board tank. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same issue with my tanky build. There are some classes, and it's more like not classes, but specs of the class. For example, a healing Shami that does no damage cannot kill me, but I cannot kill him either because I don't have the burst. But a DPS one, it depends. I mean, I think that applies to all the classes, though. We all have one or two that we cannot kill.
Yeah, I just think the people that generally play like a Slayer or a Choppa, they generally want to be more aggressive. So they believe that they can kill the target. Tunnel vision is usually a big issue for people that are playing melee DPS. You have to break the tunnel vision. And the biggest thing I would say, which I scream all the time in my stream, is to learn target acquisition. When you're going to a fight, if it's a scenario or open RVR, figure out who you should be fighting and do that. Don't go after the first person you see and get tunnel vision, because you're not going to help anybody else out, or you're just going to die yourself.
So, as far as the gameplay for your class, the Slayer, there are a lot of changes that will be done in Return of Reckoning compared to Age of Reckoning. So, I know you haven't played the Slayer on live, like you said, but you definitely fought a couple of them. Do you have a sense whether this class is like better on Return of Reckoning from Age of Reckoning?
Playing against Slayers on live versus here, I would say they're a little bit weaker here just because of the renown cap that we have on this server. From memory, Slayers were deadly once they hit, around renown rank 100, and they had all the top level gear. They were super deadly at that point. Here, they don't seem to be as much.
Yeah, I mean, the renown, being 80 instead of 100 definitely makes a difference. I mean, I can feel that on Fixer. I can see, I'm looking at the points and I could go more tanky, but just not happening. Are you watching the stream chat, or should I read your question list for you?
I'm not watching a stream chat because I'm in my own stream. Sorry.
So Tip Doom is asking this question: which is the hardest class to beat? How about the most annoying one from the Slayer point of view?
Shami.
Shami, yeah, I think everybody would pick Shami because of the kiting, the healing, the dodge.
The kiting ability, the absorb. I generally, the only way I can beat a Shami is that if I'm prepared for him, and I run a 2-tactic build where I have to swap tactics. If I'm able to swap tactics, if I know I'm going to fight a Shami one-on-one, I might have a better success rate against him. But just the ability to knock me away, absorb, dot me, and kite me around is the biggest issue against him.
Yeah, I also think that, if a Shami stands still, he will die. Whether he's a healer or not, if he plays static, he will die. It's the mechanic of the class, which is why they're so freaking annoying. You have to keep chasing them all the time. And unfortunately, most of the skills, especially for range like Enges and Bright Wizards and stuff like that, you can't do all your skills on the go, and you have to stop. And it's very difficult for the range to keep up with that kiting thing.
They're able to run faster than me with their speed tactics than I can charge. So once they get away from me, I really have no way of catching up to them.
So now we're on the classes and we're saying about, comparing a little bit with the Age, with the Return of Reckoning. Do you think overall that the classes we have now in Return of Reckoning, with all the changes that devs did, and, all the changes, the paths, the renowns, the gear, all that, do you think that the game now is better than live? Because live had a lot of issues. I mean, this one has as well. But overall, because you played both of them, which one would you say is better? If one of them is better.
Well, it's kind of a tricky question for me to answer. I would say they're both equal in their own right. Live had a bigger gear gap, so you could, if you had a person that just started out and he fought against a round rank 100 person, he would get two-shotted. This game doesn't really have that. This game, they kind of keep everybody as close as they kind of can, even if you're renown 80 versus a renown 20. The gear gap isn't there. So some people would say it's a little bit fairer here to casuals. And other people say that it's more unfair to hardcore people that play the game and dedicate a lot of time. So it can kind of go both ways, in my opinion.
Well, like that argument is the first time I'm listening to it. Like, fair for the casuals and unfair for the competitive. I mean, the competitive can do 6 months and go out there and fight it. I don't.
Well, what makes 6-man so deadly really isn't gear or even the classes I play. It's all about communication and organization. If you have a really good 6-man who's organized and they're communicating and they're assisting, they could kill a pug 12-man just because they don't have the communication. They don't have the organization.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier on.
So on this server, it's not really about gear per se. It's all about organization and it's about communication. If you're able to get that down, you can dominate on this server.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Totally. So there's another question from you which says, which is your favorite zone in RVR and why?
I would probably say Prague, and that's only because I have more hiding spots where I can hide around corners and I can kind of peek around and see people before they see me.
It's funny you say Prague because I think, like, if we ask everybody here on the chat, actually, I'm going to ask everybody in the chat, what's your favorite map? I think most of them are going to type Prague. There you go. First one, Prague with exclamation mark. So in this server right now, what we say, like, new content, right? What's your opinion about the stuff that came out, like the fort, the gear, the dungeons? You want to do a small overview of your opinion on the recent content? Because yesterday, Saturday, we had the patch as well about the campaigns, and since you mentioned you like completing the campaign and following it through, how do you feel about closing all the maps, just having one?
Well, that's a big question. Let me start out first with...
Take your time.
Yeah, let me start out first with dungeons. I don't do PvE, so I don't really have any opinions on it. I'm not a PvE player. So I've never done Gunbad. I've never done Bastion Stairs. I've never done City Siege or City stuff.
Dungeons.
So City Dungeons. Thank you. So I have no opinion on those. I don't do PvE. I avoid it. And it's not that I avoid it in this game. I avoid it in any game that I play. It's not what drives me to play. Now, in terms of the changes that they made in the Forge the campaign, I'm kind of split on it because when it was how it was before, people would tend to avoid fighting each other, and it's kind of what I call, again, when I stream, I'm constantly talking about how, let's say if there's a fight in Chaos Waste, and there's also a fight in BV. If Order would wipe in Chaos Waste, then they would, a large group of them would leave, and I call it, Order pussy play. They will they leave Chaos Waste to go PvE in Barak Var, where there's like no Destro. It's like 400% AO for Destro.
Yeah.
And to me, I always called that just pussy play because they don't want to die. They're afraid of dying, and it annoyed me. This forces everybody to kind of go into one zone where you can't play the pussy play as much. Excuse me, I apologize for that term.
No, it's mature content.
But it does bring its own issues as well. That, like right now when Forza's going on, I think they need to open up like a tier 2 as soon as Forza opens up to give somebody something to do. Because when it's
that point,
when it's late hours, when it's like, not prime time, You can't do scenarios because your queue times are an hour long in between scenarios.
True.
And so all you're really doing is sitting in Altdorf like this, doing nothing, or you're trying to farm bats for your mats. Well,
Yeah.
when you don't do PvE like me, I'm bored out of my mind.
I know. I was just gonna say, I interrupt you for a second and say that someone was on a different stream and said that devs are looking what to do during to introduce something new during the forts for people to do. So I think they're going to open up at least the map. I think that might come on the next patch to fix the mechanism that open up the maps and all this. So there's going to be something to do, because this is what I'm facing today. I'm streaming. The fort came up. There's no maps. Scenarios are popping because it's Sunday and it's a lot of people. And I think definitely is going to help, like you said, the populations of prime time, especially the North Americans or the Americans in general and Australians who don't have a lot of people. If there's only one map, people will concentrate there, and it will give them a chance to have population to play with.
Yeah, I mean
That's definitely
during the week, like Monday through Friday, once EU logs off, the population drops on the server down to like the 200s. Total online. Well,
yeah.
if there's a fort going on, the non 4040s, they really have nothing to do, because
Tell me,
tier 2 3 scenarios don't pop at all for them. So they have zero content to do at that point.
Yeah.
So I feel for them in that regard, that they need to, in my opinion, they need to open up like a tier 2 zone as soon as the forts start, to give those people something to do. Otherwise, they are just going to log. They're not going to stand around and wait an hour and a half for forts to get over with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, today I feel a bit bad because I can't offer, PvP to my viewers, for example, on stream, right?
Yeah.
Thank God I had the interview, so we're good. We had found something to do during the siege of the fort. Just a small break on the content there. Question for Tosh: do you see 200 Slayer playable in solo roamer? I mean, I can see you holding two hammers there, but is the 200 Slayer playable for solo?
It's playable, but it's not as viable. The issue with two-handed Slayer is, all of your abilities are based off of your rage, and so you're forced to run a tactic that does not get rid of your rage. So you're forced to run you're forced to run a build that is a lot squishier because of your rage mechanic. So it's just not as viable. Is it possible? Yeah, people do it. I just don't think it's as viable. Solo.
Okay.
In six mans you can do it because you have heal support and you have guard. So then it's viable because your burst damage is higher.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, the Hearth also runs a Slayer, and I enjoy playing with him sometimes because he runs the self-resurrect tactic, and it's funny just to watch him die and come back again 6 times in a row.
Well, yeah, that's a double-edged sword. Is that it reses you, but then you're immediately killed almost all over again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We did one play once with that tactic. He got resurrected 6 times in a row, and he was popping up, exploding the damage, and then dying and again. It was really funny just to watch. He just wouldn't die. But that's one case, it's 25% chance. There's another question for you. How is life for a North American player outside the EU prime time? How are the fights then?
When EUs are not playing, when it's slow, it can be pretty slow. The biggest issue that I have is that since I'm on the West Coast, I'm not as bad as, let's say, like Artham in Australia, but my ping is around 180 milliseconds. So, when it's slow, I can have ping issues fighting, 1v1 against an EU player just because the location of where the server thinks he is and where I am at can be 30, 40 feet away. So I try to hit somebody and it takes like 5-6 seconds for it to like recalculate, and all of a sudden he's like warped ahead of me or behind me or whatever the case may be. That's not always, but it can be annoying at times.
I heard, though, I'm not sure how exactly it works, that the server does use a sort of like prediction system to see ahead, and that's like the one thing that causes a couple of problems with the chopper pool and the engine and the magus pool through walls and stuff, like predicting it's going to move or it's going to do that. So I don't know if that helps. with the ping, like you said, because you have 5 seconds. Maybe because of the prediction, it drops it to 2, so it's more playable. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't have any insight if that's the reason or if that's the fix or not. I mean, to me, they just get rid of all goddamn pulls together, but that's a different topic.
So you don't do PvE. So now that the Forge, the reason why they did this change last Saturday, where we only get one map open, okay, which right now is causing a problem because now that the Fort is active, we have nothing to do. It's the first installment of the road, let's say, to city sieges. Of course, there's going to be changes to it, but are you excited about city sieges coming in? Did you play them on live?
I did play them on live, yeah. I loved City Sieges on live just because, again, I'm a person that loves I'm a person that loves to kill people in a game because it's a way for me to get my frustration out from real life. So being able to kill people in a game, probably saves me in real life from going crazy. City Sieges is going to be interesting, but I am a little concerned about the reliability of the servers. We'll see how that goes.
Well, apparently yesterday, I think during the patch when they tested this new one map thingy, they closed some maps were open and they closed them on purpose to gather all the people to one map to do a stress test. Apparently, it went well. The server could handle all the people in one zone. So I think we need to give it time a little bit because I hear a lot of people complaining about this. Give it a little bit of time um, to see how that's gonna work and how because people like today they said that order left Rakeland to be taken so they can do defense on the fort. From what I'm been told, when the city cities come out, if you do that, it's not going to be beneficial for your side. So I think we're going to have more intense fighting at least during that period, and I think it's going to be good.
I
We're
hope
going to
so.
have how did you call it when order ends?
Pussy play.
Push to play. I think that's going to come down a little bit. So I think that's going to help out a lot. So I don't have any more questions about content and like the gameplay. So I'm going to jump to the next section that I have about you as a streamer. So I met you on Warhammer Return of Reckoning streaming. Sorry. Okay. So my question is, are you just like a new streamer and you start streaming during Warhammer, or will you be streaming before? And like, are you a new streamer, generally speaking, experienced streamer?
I wouldn't say I'm experienced. I've been streaming for about 2.5, almost 3 years total.
Oh,
But I am probably one of the smaller streamers for Return of Reckoning for multiple of reasons that I have an idea of why that is, and I'm okay with that. I'm not saying I should be a large streamer. I'm okay with where I'm at, but I've been doing it for about 2.5, 3 years.
oh, phew. That's a long. I mean, for me, it's a long time. I've been doing it since like February. I still have a lot to learn. So, do you only stream right now, like Return of Reckoning, or do you do other games as well? I know. I mean, I sometimes do. I don't know, Minion Masters or Vermintide, something like that. Or do you just stick to one game?
I generally only stream Return of Reckoning because that's where I get any viewers at all. Even if it's 10 people or one person, it's usually from Return of Reckoning. But I do also stream games like Division 2. There's about 4 or 5 games that I do stream on occasion, but I would say majority of the time is Return of Reckoning.
I don't know, man. I stream a couple of other games, and I get, like you say, less viewers, of course, but I get some viewers. But somehow, always feels strange when I stream something else except Return of Reckoning. I don't know why. Do you get that feeling when you stream other games that something is not right?
Well, the thing about streaming Return of Reckoning that I actually love a lot is that the community basically knows everybody. So,
Yeah.
when you stream, I might get somebody in my stream that plays Destro and they play Destro a lot. Then they might come in the stream, and I know who they are, and we're friendly, we're cordial in the stream. And even if that person kills me in game or whatever, or stream snipes me or whatever the case may be, which doesn't really happen a lot, you can still be. We all kind of know each other for the most part.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I stream a game that no one really knows anybody, everybody's kind of like a stranger at that point. So it's a different feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, today I had an experience that was funny. I was doing a Howling Gorge, right? And I was running to get the bomb from the middle lake. There was a witch hunter trying to get it. I'm like, don't get it, don't get it. Let me get it. And all of a sudden, while he's like channeling to pick it up, he stopped and moved back. He was apparently on my stream. I didn't realize. It was funny as hell. When people and also had Destro, sometimes say, "Oh, there's a witch elf. I'm gonna get her," and she's actually coming for me. It's so close to the community that even if you call them names, people like sometimes I get pissed off. I'm like, "Oh, fuck you, this name, and fuck you, that name, and all that," and they still, come on the stream and say that was a good fight. I love that. The community is brilliant, and I want to point that out for new people that might watch this later on, or they're right here on the stream right now. That the community is so good, like 99% is great. And I've been over 20 years that I played so many communities. This one is brilliant about a lot of things.
Yeah, I would agree. This game, from other streamers, I get along with 99% of all the Return of Reckoning streamers that I see streaming.
Yeah.
And I get along with most of the community. There's always exceptions in everything, but I don't have the almost hatred or whatever that I've had in other games. This game does have that community that is kind of, we're all enemies, but it's almost like a frenemy type thing.
True. There's a question for you on the chat here. If you were a dev and had the ability to change something, what would you change and why?
I'd get rid of fucking DPS archmages and DPS chamois.
So you're part of that notion that they hate them DPS. But why? I mean, the game allows them to play DPS. Why remove them? Why take that option away from those people, Tosh?
Yes, the game allows them to do that, but World also allows me to drive drunk and kill people. Doesn't mean I should.
You should do it. Okay, I agree with you have options, but sometimes you shouldn't be able to pick them up.
No, the reason why I say that is because to me, people that play, and this is going to be a generality, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people when I say this, but to me, the game is based around 3 basic mechanics: DPS, tanks, and healers. And when you incorporate a class that can be a hybrid, that is maybe not exceptionally well at both things, but can be good to great on both things, you throw everything off because other people might depend on you as a healer to be a healer. And when you play a class that people might perceive you as being a healer, but you don't, and you're more into the selfish DPS role, you kind of throw off the whole mechanics of everybody else in a way. And it just really annoys me. I call both classes just nothing but DPS troll classes. They're just there just to troll people.
Yeah, I think.
So
I think.
I don't like either one of them. Both of them piss me off. The DPS and the chamois, both DPS Archmage. I wish they were both gone.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree. Sometimes going to a scenario that I do scenarios, and you see 2 Archmages and think, okay, we have heal, and then you go into combat and you realize that you receive nothing, can be very, very annoying.
Yeah, I mean,
I think those.
Usually, I cut you out there usually, but
No,
the funny thing that happens, you go into a scenario, which I don't do scenarios a lot, but I do it sometimes. The first thing an Archmage says before the match ever starts is, "I'm DPS, I'm not heals," and your head just goes down here like, "Ah, shit,"
Yeah, I had that feeling. But I think the hybrids exist to be in a party to create like the off heal, like we have off tanks. You know what I mean? To be like the off heal and DPS to play balancing roles. But I think players took it to a whole new level, like pure DPS or pure heal. And since I play a lot of Order, I have to say that when having a hybrid class like this, the DPS should be something people play, when they solo, and there should be healers in playing parties, because Order is really missing a lot of healers. And I think that amplifies the problem a little bit.
Well, what I think really kind of messed it up, the whole thing, is when the devs changed the whole dot mechanic. When they changed the dot mechanics to be essentially, undefendable in a way. Yes, you can kind of parry them and you can kind of dodge them a little bit, but they made the dots very strong for all classes. And when that happened, the players realized, okay, what's the easiest class that I can dot and do damage with? And that's when the Chamois and Archmages really exploded in popularity. It was after that change. Before then, the only time you really saw Chamois is if they ran around with like a Squig Herder. So like the duo of Squig Herder Chamois is really popular before the change. After the change, you see a lot of solo Chamois and a lot of solo Archmages now.
Yeah, they're quite powerful, especially with the heal they have. And the other thing viewer says here is the worst is when they do heal the DPS Archmages and Chamois, but they only heal themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's also
what throws it off is that no other classes really in the game, besides maybe like your Chosens and your Knights, have any way of healing themselves. So you throw a dot on somebody, and you can essentially just walk away from them, and they might die depending on what their health is, and they have nothing to do to counteract that for the most part. So
yeah,
it just kind of throws the balance off a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, you mean about like the whole dotting and running situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can have a chamois run up to me and hit me with a couple dots, then throw a beam on me, and my health will go down to about 30% health just from that alone. And if I don't have pots available, if my cloak isn't available to wipe something away, I really don't have any way of defending myself against that.
Yeah, plus the slow puddle and the punt away.
Yeah, they can slow puddle me, detaunt me, they'll knock me away, then they just redot me again, then I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, so that's why I call them troll classes.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, since we're on the topic, they were saying at some point that because the drop on the floor, both Archmages and Chamois, it has no number limit. So if you drop it, you can slow entire warband. They were thinking to make it up to 6 or 12 people, something like that, so it doesn't affect everybody. I don't think that change took place ever.
I think what they should do, this is just something that came to my mind right now. Again, I think about a lot of shit that people disagree with, and I that's kind of probably why I don't have people that watch my streams a lot, is in a similar way that how they nerfed Shattered Limbs for Slayers, that it only works if you hit a target of 3 people or more. Other than that, it doesn't affect anybody. I think the Chamois puddle and the AM puddle should be the same way. If you're only fighting one person, it shouldn't affect them. It should only affect a person area of people around it. Then it affects that area of people. But that's my opinion.
No, I mean they were saying, instead of to put a number, it drop it if it affects 6 people by standard. If somebody the 7th runs through it, it won't affect him. But what you say, I think it's even better. If it's like from 3 to 8, for example. So if it's less than 3, it doesn't affect. More than that is up to that limit. It's a good idea, I think.
That's what I would do. But again, I think of really weird shit sometimes.
Sorry, I'm just reading a comment there which says, sticky feet in a funnel situation, if you snare the front, that only ability will technically affect everything trying to get inside. Because of friendly collision, clogging up the entrance will snare people. Yeah, but that really creates a clusterfuck in a funnel door, because you already have collision from your own units. Yours already have collision from Order or Destroy in front of you. If you add the sticky feet in there as well, it's like standing still. There's nothing you can do.
Well,
these are the situations.
The bad thing about that whole scenario, the whole funnel thing, is that again you get these players that will charge in, and then they get scared because they see their health dropping, so they start backpedaling because they don't want to die. So that's a bigger issue more than any type of snare or anything else. Funnel situations are killed by your own people more than the enemy itself, because they're afraid to push. They're too afraid to die. So they start backpedaling, and it fucks everybody else over.
I also identified, because I've been watching a lot of funnels, because I'm Reigns and I sit at the back. I've been watching the funnels, and they also die because of Reigns classes. What I mean is this. I mean, not the opponents, the enemy's range classes, but your own range classes. What people do is the tanks go in the funnel at the front, all right, a couple of melee as well. And then you get like Bright Wizards, Shadow Warriors, I don't know, NGs, they push behind them. And then they stop to do the damage and the spells in the middle of the tunnel during the funnel. Also, healers will stop, and then the reinforcement from back, they can't get through. So right in the middle, you have ranged and healers that block the rest of the melee that want to push through, and then you get a clustering that you cannot avoid.
Yeah.
Although they can heal, they have the range to heal for further back, because I mean the tunnel is not 100 feet, but still they get inside, and during that time, because they get clustered, there's the AoE in there, they heal themselves more. People at the front, like you said, see they lose a lot of life and start backpedaling, and it's a combination of disorganization and fear of dying.
Yeah, I think it comes down more to people are afraid to die in this game, which I don't understand. But as soon as they see their health drop, 20, 30, 40%, they start to back up and they want to leave. They don't want to die. And I don't understand the mentality, but it really screws everyone else up because,
Definitely.
if reinforcement's trying to push and you're trying to back out, it's just clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, I had this thing today and I was laughing at it at the stream. I was soloing, and today I think I had 10 people running solo, 1 versus 1. I had 10 people running away. Like when they hit 50% life, they start running. I'm like, I've never seen that in any streams that I did, or any off-stream thing. Anyways, so Tosh, I don't have any questions on this matter on the chat at the moment, so I'm gonna move a little bit forward.
Okay.
So, as a streamer, do you have a steady schedule? I mean, like, when do you stream so people can catch up your streams?
No, I don't have a steady schedule. I've been in between jobs for the past 6-8 months. So sometimes I've been working, sometimes I haven't been working. So I don't really have like a full time schedule as it is. So the only time I don't play is I usually don't play on the weekends because that's when I spend time with my wife for the most part. Other than that, I don't really have a steady schedule.
Yeah, I can feel you have similar problems for that as well. So when you stream, do you have a specific amount of time you stream? For example, my streams are usually 5 hours. Do you set a timer for yourself, or you come in and you could do 1 hour or 10?
Yeah, I've done 24-hour streams and I've done 30-minute streams. It all depends how I feel, how the game is going. I'm a person that I get aggravated quite easily and quite quickly, depending on how I feel the players are playing. If players are avoiding fighting, if they're avoiding, if they're playing that, quote unquote pussy play again, I get aggravated quite easily. So then I just basically just say fuck it, and I say I'm ending my stream. I'm done.
Yeah, seriously though, man. The way your psychic, your character is, right? Playing the Slayer, I really picture you as a Slayer. If you were born in the age of Warhammer, you would definitely be a Slayer. I cannot picture you for something else.
I hear that sometimes. Sometimes people come on my stream and they're like, "Oh, you look like a Slayer a little bit," but yeah.
You know what? It's not bad to be honest, to be upfront, to be caustic in a useful way, on the bad things that happen, or expressing your opinion. I do that as much as I can on the stream, and I really don't want you to change, because we need someone who is that blunt,
I'm usually
most people don't like it because it's truth, and the truth hurts.
Yeah, in my streams, I usually, it's probably one reason why I'm not against this, and I won't change. It's probably one reason why I don't get a lot of viewers is because I'm very outspoken about how I perceive other people playing, and maybe that's unfair of me because I don't know what his and her knowledge is in the game, and that is unfair for me to do that, to assume that everybody knows the game, because I don't even know everything. But to me, if you're playing a PvP based game, then play a PvP based game. Don't play it in a PvE format. You're gonna die. Play to kill people. Don't play to run.
Yeah, I have that situation at some point, and I'll tell you the story really quickly, and then I stopped dealing with people in this manner, because I was fighting 2 tanks in a scenario holding a BO, and then I dropped the napalm, lighting the AoE on the floor there, and they were about to die. They were cross-guarding, and then the other engine next to me just did an AoE pan and threw them outside the range of the AoE. And I tell this guy, dude, don't punt them outside the AoE. And the reply I got, Tosh, was, "You're not going to tell me how I'm going to play." I only mention it because, they were about to die and he pretty much saved them. But after that, I just stopped being like that. Okay, hold on. We have a question for you on the day. What changes in the game or something outside the game would you take for you to start doing more group orientated RVR? Just plant the banner again. Sorry about the banner. It will just get destroyed if I don't
Yeah, I had to
put
replant
it
mine
back
as
up.
well.
Yeah, me too as well. So that's fine.
Do you when you say group play, do you mean like warband play or 6-man play? Can you which
I'll
one?
repeat the question until we get the clarification, which is the question is this: what changes in the game or something outside the game would it take for you to start doing more group-oriented RVR? 6-man or warband?
Because I did warband play for about a year, then I just got tired of it. 6-mans I've done a little bit, but I'm not a 6-man professional by any means. So depending on which one you want me to go into, I can go into more in detail of what it would bring me to do those.
Okay, I will give a minute to Bombling to write what you want. So, do you stream in any other platforms like YouTube or Mixer or I don't know something else, or you like on Twitch?
I only stream on Twitch, but I repost my videos on YouTube when I decide to be quit so lazy and actually do it.
Yeah, I get the feel. I know what you mean. So you do have a YouTube. Do you have any other media, Tweet, Pinterest, and all these things? Because I'm not familiar with them myself. That people could follow up about your activities, your streams, and all that.
I have a I have a Facebook page for my Slayer and I have Instagram for my Slayer, but I've never really used them. I only made them because I was thinking about trying to do like Twitch more as kind of remove it from the casual setting and more into semi professional, as high as you can really go in this game. So I was like, I'm going to start doing like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and things like that. But then I was like, I was kind of like, fuck it. I'm never going to do that because that's not my personality. I'm not going to sit there and post about a fake character and talk about what my Slayer is doing and things like that. I was like, fuck it. So I never really followed up on it.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I put YouTube in attempt, to advertise the game mainly, but down the line with the interviews and all this, the amount of time to do the videos and the graphics and put them on, it gets sometimes too much. So I can, relate to that a little bit.
YouTube, I did a lot for when I was doing like, I wasn't one of the first people to do this by any means. Other people did it before me, of course. But I was doing like a lot of like solo composition fights that I would post. But yeah. I quit doing that because people were saying they were like edited out, or I would edit out my losses. That's one reason why I started doing streaming, because I said, well, then I can't hide my losses.
True, but you could do the other thing like I did once. I only did it once. I have videos like solo fight with Fixxer on tanky build, and I thought about it before somebody said, and I made a video only with losses. So I actually have a video that I only die throughout the 6 minutes.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
more fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, no, I've had streams of mine where I'll be camped by like a 6-man at a war camp, and they've killed me 30 times in a row. And they just camp me at a war camp, and it's like I won't give up. I'll just keep coming, and you can keep killing me, and I'll just keep coming, and I really don't care. I mean, I'm never gonna kill you, and I know that. And I don't even see the healer. I'll have like five things on my death thing. So I'm like my HP is like half of what it's supposed to be, and I just keep coming. I don't care. You can camp me all you want. It does not bother me.
Just a small parenthesis on the whole thing. You're so famous. Even Santa Claus is here. Do you see him?
I don't believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's sitting on my...
Yeah, I see him.
Santa, we don't believe in you.
I see him.
So there's a question there. I'm just going to go back to it. Just curious to hear if Tosh has given up or relying on others for his RVR action, or if he wants to get into 6-man or warband play down the road, if something changes with the game or in his own personal view on something.
Warband play I'll never get into anymore. It's just warband play for me is just too much of a hassle. It's too much of a hassle of you're always waiting on that one person that says, "Oh, I need to go AFK for bio," or "I need to do this," or "I need to do that," or "I'm waiting for this person to log in." And so you spend half of your time standing around waiting for somebody else to get their ass ready to do something. So it's just a big turnoff for me. 6-man play, I would do, yes. If there was a 6-man that would accept a Slayer and accept my type of personality and play style, I would do. The big thing about 6-man play is that they would want me to change my spec, and I'd have to play something that how I don't like to play. I like to play very aggressively and very. This is going to sound bad, but kind of selfishly in the sense of I don't feel like I have to rely on other people. If I die, I'm fine. But if I'm in a 6-man, I don't want to die because it hurts my team. So I have to be a little bit more reserved and think more about what's going on for everybody else as well. And at my age, I'm getting a little bit slow in doing that.
You're not getting old, Tosh.
Oh, I'm old. I'm old and grumpy.
Join the club, man. Join the club.
But I would do 6-mans, yes.
Yeah, I like 6-man as well. I mean, on the relying bit, you know what I hate the most is when I roam solo sometimes. I see a fight. I don't know, let's say 2 people, right? And I'm alone, and I see there's like 2 or 3 coming behind me. I'm like, okay, I have enough backup who can get in, and this guy's going to jump into the fight. You start the fight, and then you realize it's like 4 people versus you, and the other guy's just left.
Yeah.
That really pisses me off.
Well,
but that's just me.
What really makes, and I'm kind of the same aspect, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it publicly. I no longer help archmages. If I see an archmage one-on-one, and if I see they're getting jumped, I don't help them out. I let them die, because I've been burned so many times where I'll jump in thinking, okay, fine, I'm going to help this archmage survive against, let's say, 2 or 3 witch elves. I'm going to, at that point, I was expecting them to help me help them, but they would just jump on their mount and run away.
Yeah.
And so then I'm there stuck fighting 3 witch elves by myself. So I was like, fuck it. If I see an archmage solo, I'm not helping you.
Yeah, this is sometimes what I say to people on my stream when they see me play. I'm like, do not engage the enemy if you solo, if it's more than you, because you see people behind you. Make sure that they're coming for the fight. You know what I mean? Don't engage and then realize you're left alone. But what you say happens a lot. I've faced that thing. You go and help somebody that it's a healer, whether it's a rune priest or an archmage or anything like that. And then, during the fight, they heal themselves, they get out of the problem because they're starting to kill you, and they run away. It's kind of annoying.
I still help people out when I can, but if I see an archmage doing it, I let them die. It's bad for me to say that, but I just let them die.
Yeah, man. Everybody has their own game plan. So some people do this, and it looks bad. That they see like one person fighting another person, say, okay, it's 1v1, I'm gonna let it play out, I'm not gonna get into it and ruin it. And when the person dies, like, hey dude, why you didn't help me, And sometimes you do 1v1, it's like somebody jumps in like, oh fuck's sakes, just let us do this fight 1v1, Now it depends on the point of view of people.
Yeah, now that being said, I do have a macro, and I always say in my stream that if a healer heals you outside a party, or whatever the case may be, make sure you thank that person, because it's not their job to heal you if you're not in their party. So I do go out of my way that, if an archmage or a rune priest or anybody heals me, I make sure that I tell them publicly, thank you for doing so, because it's not their job to do so. It's not, it's unexpected. So that being said, I do say thank your healers, because, it is a hard job for them to do.
True, but they also get a contribution now. I mean, you can see it from the other point that they're healing you. You should.
Yeah, I mean, they might be doing it for selfish reasons. It might be a selfish reason of why they're doing it, maybe. But I still look at our point of view of they're still helping me, so I still thank them.
Yeah, but I agree with you, because being polite, it doesn't cost you anything. It definitely makes the better.
Yeah, so I have a macro just for healers for when they do heal me and they're not, they don't need to or have to. I do make sure that I do make sure I say thank you to them.
There's also one add-on that when you get resurrected, it will automatically thank the healer. So it saves you time to typing if you don't have
Yeah,
the mic
but
or anything
then
like that.
that's not personal to me. If I have something that does something for me, then it's not personal. It doesn't mean as much in my opinion. I'm not saying
Hmm.
don't do it. But if I say thank you to you, then that means that I truly said thank you to you. It's not me having some computer say it for me on my behalf.
Sure.
That's the way I look at
No problem. I agree
it.
with you.
Yeah,
So
I'm being interviewed by Fixer
another
Rocket.
question. So when you stream, do you stream just one character? There's some people that stream like only one character one side, one character on the other side. But do you do multiple characters?
Yeah, I
Like you
stream.
will
Yeah,
come in
I
and
stream my engineer. I stream my bright wizard. I stream my slayer. I sometimes I'll stream like a lobby in tier 1, but it's always an order stream that I stream. Since I don't have any Destro tunes anymore, I did have Destro tunes in the past. None of them were ever 40, but I deleted all of my Destro tunes.
yeah, I deleted a lot on both sides. Then because of the stream, people requested to see different places. I made more. But to be honest with you, I'm struggling because I want to level everything. So I'm on the point trying to like not delete everything. So okay, I know you only stream PvP content, so you don't do PvE. You mentioned that before, so we're kind of skipping that one. So regarding your stream, Tosh, is there anything you would like to tell to people that are watching now, my stream or your stream? Any announcements, any upcoming events, anything that you will take the opportunity here to announce?
I don't really have any announcements because my stream schedule is not steady. I at this stage I don't really do like giveaways and things of that nature. I just don't have the ability to do so. So when I stream, people are welcome to come on my stream. They're welcome to say whatever they want to say. I don't do any censoring for the most part. As long as they don't say anything derogatory towards an individual, I let things go. I'm thick-skinned myself. The things that I say in my stream, if I can't take it, then I wouldn't say it. So, really,
Yes.
if you come on my stream, for me. You can say whatever you want to say to me, and I have pretty thick skin. But other than that, you're welcome to chill out. I'm a person that if I have a stream of one person, or if I have a stream of 100 people, I feel the same exact way. To me, it's not the viewers that I have; it's the interactions that I have that I like the most. So
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'd rather have one person on my stream talk to me than have 100 people on my stream that no one says anything.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I do the best that I can to make my stream interactive, for people to chat and all that, and it's hard. It's hard. Um, if anybody has any more questions for Tosh, now is the time to write it. We're coming to the end of the interview in a minute. And also, somebody says it's also super obvious when they add on thanking you. So about the thing we were talking before. So my last question from the list of questions that I have here that I asked all the people I interviewed to make it fair for them is if you have any tips for any new streamers that might want to pick up streaming generally, not just specifically for Warhammer.
Well, I would say if you're starting off as streaming, brand new, take it one step at a time. Don't expect to become super popular immediately. It's, unless you're that, lottery winner, it's not going to happen. So take it purely as a hobby. Grow your stream slowly, get, next piece of equipment, may that be a mic or a camera or whatever. Get what you can and slowly make it better, and the viewers will start to show up. You start off with one viewer, then you might get 5 viewers, and you might get 10 viewers. Don't expect to start off a stream all of a sudden you're making money and you're super famous. It's not going to happen unless you're just that lottery winner of 1 in a billion. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'd say do that.
a
Be
lot of people.
consistent. Be consistent. Don't be fake. Don't start your stream off and then be this fake person that you're trying to be somebody else. Be yourself, because I think your viewers are going to see that you're fake, that you're just being a phony person. If you're a brash person like myself, then within reason, of course, be brash. If you're a nice person who's sensitive, then be sensitive. Don't be afraid of being who you are. Be truthful to yourself.
Okay. So I have no more questions, Tosh. I don't see anybody typing anything on the chat. I had quite a few questions for you tonight. I would like to thank you very much for taking part of this series of interviews. Definitely enjoyed it. And if you guys haven't been to Toshi's stream yet, this is a good opportunity for you to go and see him. Click that follow button. He's definitely worth it. And if you like Slayers, you're gonna learn a lot from Tosh. Tosh, the interview is done officially. We finished. So usually when I'm in order,